What's up, rewatchers? Hi, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Lauren from Fashion Grunge, and we're here to tell you that the following podcast has strong adult language, so please keep in mind who around you can hear it.
Also, just a warning that there are spoilers ahead.
But it's been out for a long time. You really should have watched by now.
Exactly.
Enjoy!
Well, yeah, that part one gives you a lot to go on. At least that's where most of the action happens, right?
Yeah, that's like the main action.
Well, before we jump ahead, we'll get into part two. Let's do that now. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Rewatch Recap, where we recap shows for nostalgia and pure amusement. Again, I am Dustin with Lauren from Fashion Grunge and the podcast Fashion Grunge. Here with me today, we're talking Ghostwriter, Who Burned Mr. Brinker's Store, the second mystery, and we're on part two of that second mystery.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out the recap of part one and also Ghost Story, the first mystery, in the Ghostwriter playlist. You can actually watch all these Ghostwriter episodes on YouTube on a playlist, which I will provide the link to. Are we ready to get more clues, Lauren? There's more to come.
We are. We're going to find out how is Jamal going to get out of this one. That's what we're here to find out.
Not yet, I'm sure, because we're only in part two, but we're going to get there. So make sure you grab your pens and your case books, guys, because the Ghostwriter team and the Rewatch team is on the case.
Ghostwriter!
Word. Oh,
cool. Okay. I was trying not to laugh. So I was like, just be quiet.
Just keep it inside. Okay, kids, here's what's been happening on Ghostwriter, the facts. The kids all love to hang out at the video and game store called Brinker's. While Jamal plays computer games, Tina is shooting a video outside. She spots a guy going into the store and records it for some reason. That guy, the same guy, hands Mr. Brinker a note and a business card, and Ghostwriter reads, "Warning, copyright infringement, and FBI." Also, Tina needed a new tape because Gabby kept jumping into her shots, but a distressed Brinker tries to sell her a used tape, which he pressures her into buying before he kicks her out and Jamal out of the store, with Jamal telling him to treat them nicer or they're going to boycott and he'll be sorry. That night, Jamal writes a note to Brinker asking him to be nicer to the kids that give him business and they will buy more. He drops it off in the mail slot around 7 p.m. and some kids light fireworks behind him, causing him to rip his sleeve in the mail slot. He also saw someone making deliveries in the back. That night, the electronics in the back room of Brinker's catch on fire and smoke does not affect the smoke alarm. It doesn't go off. The next day, Lieutenant Isaiah McQuaid finds the orange thread from Jamal's jacket in the mail slot, and Ghostwriter tells everyone to hurry over to Brinker's to help Jamal because he's in trouble. We learn from the detective that the fire started around 7 p.m. because the fire knocked out the power in the building and the clock in Brinker's window is stuck at 7:05. And when Jamal shows up, Brinker sees him and instantly tells the detective that he thinks Jamal burned down his store. So the viewer suspects so far are the man with the letter, right, who came into Brinker's, the kids with the firecrackers, or the delivery guys out back. Could it be any one of them? We don't know. Got to keep watching. Keep track of those clues because the Ghostwriter team is on the case. So where we left off, Jamal's still in shock, like, I didn't burn down your store.
Yeah, he's like, what?
Yeah. And Lieutenant McQuaid asks him to step inside, and Jamal says, sure, I've got nothing to hide. But everybody else follows him in. Like, they all follow him into the store.
Yeah.
And Lenny sees, like, the school picture envelope on the floor. And she's like, hey, she tells Alex, somebody dropped their school picture. So she picks it up and puts it in her bag. I'm like, I wouldn't have touched the damn thing, but whatever.
No.
Presumably she's going to give it back to whoever it belongs to, right? So she asks Alex, did you get a message from Ghostwriter to help Jamal? And he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So
he's like, yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Just go in here. Just stop asking questions, Lenny. So McQuaid shows them the video of the security footage from the night before, and it's of Jamal dropping off the letter. And he says to himself, "Oh my God, it's me." Right? He's like, "Oh my God." And he knows. He's like, "Oh man," you can see that guilt on his face.
Yeah, like,
and
this does not look good.
Yeah. McQuaid's like, "We think this person may have set the fire, and I found a thread in the mail slot," before giving a completely unnecessary zoom in on his mouth that says, "Orange thread."
Yeah, orange thread. It's like, oh, that's Jamal's.
I don't need to see like every individual hair in your stash,
I
McQuaid.
know.
Like,
That was really weird.
Orange
thread.
Anyway, so like McQuaid asks, "Is that you, Jamal?" And Jamal's like, "No, I didn't set any fire." Okay.
He's like, no one said you did.
Yeah, no, I didn't set any fire. And he asks, like, "Where were you last night?" And he goes, I went to the library. You can ask my grandma." And he goes, "I will do that." And so McQuaid asks, "Do you play with firecrackers?" And Jamal's like, "No." And Alex is like, "Yeah, no way. I knew a guy who blew his hand off once."
Of course,
Okay.
Everyone did. Everyone knew
Everybody
someone. Knew
somebody
someone who knew someone whose hand
who
was
lost
blown
a
off.
hand or a thumb or something. I'm like,
But you
if that
never
were-
saw this person ever. Because
ever.
they didn't
We would have a
exist.
ton of kids with missing digits. Like,
yeah, we would.
like-
We would have been like, oh no, we would have been like, oh my gosh, what happened to your hand? Oh,
like-
I blew it off in a firecracker. Like,
cherry
they do
bomb.
tell you,
Whoops.
yeah. Never.
Sparkler,
Lies.
sorry. Sparkler got my thumb.
Yeah, like that would be like professional grade fireworks, and even then, your hand would have to be like in it when it exploded.
Yeah, like why would you keep holding on to it? Stupid.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. And they have long
Ugh.
fuses, the professional ones. I don't think they're like right next to it.
So McQuaid gives his business card out to everyone, and Lenny like seems very suspicious of the situation. She's like, "Something's up." So anyway, out on the street, Tina and Gabby agree, like, "Let's make a new video, and we'll call it Who Burned Mr. Brinker's Store." And I'm like, they said it. They said
I know,
the name
they
of
said the
thing.
title.
I love it when they do that. And they're like, "We'll look for clues and suspects, and we're going to help clear Jamal's name." I'm like, good kids doing good things. Good for them, right? So back at home, Jamal looks at his ripped jacket sleeve before writing "help" in permanent marker on some paper, with his computer sitting right there next to him, turned on and ready to go. But no, let's just waste this paper. And he writes "help" very nicely. Like, it looks really nice. He has
It's
good
always
penmanship.
someone else. It's always like someone else's hand.
I think though, but there's certain things, like certain times that it wasn't always someone else's hand. I think for him it was his writing, because there was a couple other times you see over his shoulder, like you can tell it's him.
You can actually see him holding
the
the
way
pen.
he writes is different from everybody else. Like he does these little like these kind of underlined like loop backs.
Some of the
on his
other
stuff.
ones in the case books are other people.
Yeah, definitely
like
in the
when they
case
start to
books.
write down, just like ran throughout the show as they start to write things down, because it's like slow. It's
Yeah.
like really concentrating on like clear penmanship.
It
so
was-
you can read it.
like notoriously too slow, even for my like, oh, guys, you can speed this up. Back in the day, like they could speed this up, but they didn't. Whatever. So "help" jumps off the page and it flies around before going into the computer where it should have been in the first place. And Ghostwriter's like, "What's an FBI?" And Jamal's like, "It's like police, I think." And Ghostwriter's like, "What is copyright infringement?" And Jamal's like, "I don't know." I'm like, and this is where I wrote, "Why can't Ghostwriter search this word elsewhere and learn it, you lazy ass ghost?"
Can't you go to a library and go look, or don't they have a dictionary at home?
I mean,
Like
somewhere.
in their
It's
house?
gotta have that
yeah,
word
in his
somewhere.
room. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, Ghostwriter reminds Jamal that it was on the paperwork that Brinker didn't want, and Jamal confesses that he lied to the police about not being there that night. And Ghostwriter rightfully tells him that wasn't a smart move. He asks, "What can I do?" And Ghostwriter hits him with another damn saying, "Justice is truth in action." And clarifies that he means for Jamal to tell the police the truth. And Jamal's like, "Okay, I will, but I need to prove I'm innocent first." I'm
That is also another thing, which I was okay. My first instinct was he had the right idea, like kind of sort of he shouldn't have lied to the cops. He probably just shouldn't have said anything, but that would be like another story for another mystery for another day. It's like, actually don't say anything to the cops. Just get a lawyer no matter what happens.
Tell your parents first, if
Yeah.
anything. Right?
Also, the fact that they're even questioning any of you without any discussion of parents, and even if you're mentioned as a suspect, I don't think legally they can even do anything to you if the parents aren't notified. So that wouldn't even really hold up. But the fact that he lied because he kind of knew instinctually, like, this looks bad for me, is not a horrible instinct to have, and it is better to on your own try to prove your innocence because you don't know that they would do that. They're just trying to pin it on you, which is kind of smart that he knows, like, I kind of need to prove that I didn't do this, because if I don't, I'm never going to get a chance to, and they're going to say I did it, and they're going to make up stuff and have clues just to make it look like I did it. I'm on tape. Like, this is a really bad situation. I don't even have an alibi. Because nobody saw me at the library. Nobody saw me anywhere else. The firecracker kids may not know it was me. They're not going to say anything. So, like, I do need to prove that I did not do this. So he's smart in that way.
I wholeheartedly agree, you know.
But he shouldn't have lied, but, you know.
Right. I mean, and it also amazes me as a kid, like, even just any kid, like, you think you're going to go to jail instantly.
Yeah.
Like, instantly go to jail. And I mean, for a black kid, I mean, it's definitely more likely. It's just more likely. It's sad.
Definitely.
Like, I hate that.
Yeah, definitely.
And because this just historically, that's just the way it's been.
Yeah, you can totally understand his, like, thinking. I know they didn't bring it up later on. Like, I thought there would have been a different conversation, but maybe that would have happened if he was a little older. That could have happened in a later episode, but this is, like, he's really young. I mean, he ends up being, like, in the later ones, what, like 14, 15?
They go to like 14 on going to 15 because I think the series ends when, like, the three main kids from the beginning, Alex, Lenny, and Jamal, they're going into high school, and that's where it ends. So.
Oh, okay. So maybe there's probably some discussion about like being an adult where you could go to like juvenile hall or something like that, maybe later on. But in this one, I thought maybe there would have been something, but there wasn't. But in this one, he also... The fact that he kind of already instinctively knows, like, I need to be my own defense team here because, like, no one is going to be is pretty cool.
He's been taught well, that's for sure. Okay, so we go over to a video lab, I'm presuming at school, and Tina and Gabby are going over their next move, and Tina decides, I'm going to start a case book. And I'm like, which, if you remember, she thinks is cool. Remember, she said, oh, cool, a case book when they're doing the first mystery. So they're suspects so far. The kid in the video, which is Jamal, the guy in the store that gave Brinker the letter. And I'm like, Gabby's writing this stuff down. I'm like, why is she using up all the ink in her Ghostwriter pen for this?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's around her neck.
I know, but I'm like, you have other pens, girl. This is for that purpose. Don't use this pen. Like, you're going to go dry. Anyway. So Tina thinks that we should find this guy, the guy that showed up in the cab. He's like a businessman in a suit. And Gabby's like, yeah, he came in that taxi. And Tina's like, you're brilliant. She immediately goes through her notes and finds the footage that she shot on her Steadicam that didn't exist.
I know.
And of the man exiting the cab. And they put in the tape, and he gets out of the cab, and it says Fiore Cab Company number 224. So they deduce that they can find where the man went in the taxi after leaving Brinker's, and they might be able to figure out where he was when the fire started. I'm like, these kids are smart.
This is so... I would never, ever think of this. Even on, like, Law and Order, this is what they would probably do.
I know. I'm like, smart kid. Go get some jobs. Like,
yeah. And they're in school. This isn't even summer break. This is, like, during a school year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, too.
Like, Law and Order, Juvenile Division. You know,
yeah,
that's what they need. Like, kids on, you know, that'd be awesome. Or, like, a prequel to Law and Order. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
with all these, like cops kids. As kids.
Or this is how you pay off your, like, juvenile delinquent behavior. You have to, like, help solve other crimes, and then that's how you get off. You don't have to, like, do time. You just have to, like, help solve the police department's crimes.
I would love it. I would love it if, like, Benson was was in juvie and you know. So anyway, at the library, Alex and Jamal are perusing the stacks, and they have like 20 books just to look up FBI and copyright infringement. I'm like, no, just use the encyclopedia. That's all you need. Why are you pulling all these books out? Like, this is like a middle finger to the librarian who's got to put them all away.
I know.
Man, it makes me mad. But anyway, Jamal is like looking through, and he's, oh, look at this. Ew. And it's like a drawing of a spider, like a generic drawing of a spider. What was the point of that? Anyway,
I know.
Jamal finds a definition of copyright, and it says the legal right to be the only one to reproduce, publish, and sell the contents of a form of literary or artistic work. And Alex finds infringement, saying it means to break a law. So Alex continues into an FBI book with a bunch of like pictures of gangsters and stuff. And he's like, hey, look, it's John Dillinger. I thought he was made up for the movies.
I know.
Kids, read a book, please. All of you, not just the kids on this show. Read a book.
It's
Learn
cool
some
though.
history.
It's so cool.
You find out stuff.
They
You're
would
like,
have
oh,
been
wow,
true crime TikTok detectives or like true crime podcasters if they
they totally would have had a
now.
podcast. If it's made today, they would have a
Yeah,
podcast.
that's what they would do now. There'd be like 11 and they're like doing a podcast and they're solving like neighborhood crimes on TikTok. They find out about
they're
stuff
like
on
they're
TikTok.
recounting. Remember that time we solved that crime with our friend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
no one else
remember?
knows, but we have a secret source. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Okay, so we hop over to Lenny's, and she's still working on her friendship song, trying out different instrument notes on her keyboard. And somehow she forgot lines for the extremely simple song she's been writing, and she needs to look them up in her bag. And she's like, what did I say? I'm like, you've written like 4 lines, girl. Like, so she said, oh, wait, I forgot about this envelope I found earlier. So she takes it out and she sees Jamal's letter and she reads it and she's like, we don't want to make trouble. We just want to be treated fairly. Oh, Jamal, what did you do?
Yeah, thanks, Jamal.
Yeah, thanks. She remembers the video and she gets mad because Jamal lied to the detective. So she reaches over and she like, out of frustration, just decides to like slam her hand down on the keyboard and it goes, done. She is dramatic AF. Like,
narc. I was pissed at Lenny here. I was like, she wants to rat him out.
Oh my God, she's pissed. So at the park, Jamal tells Alex that he thinks the letter that the man gave Brinker says that Brinker is a crook. I'm like, okay, you're on the right track. Just like Lenny's song in Ghost Story, right track. And they run into Craig, who's practicing his b-ball skills and must have been doing it for a while because his shirt is soaked with sweat. Alex tells him, hey, you know, Momo's a killer. And I'm like, what? It's such a stupid name, Momo. I hate it.
I know. That's got to be a nickname.
I hope so. Jamal sees that Craig has all these like electronics magazines, and Craig's like, yeah, I like to tinker with stuff and see how things work, you know, and just as Momo and his cronies show up, and this stupid macho BS of walking up with a towel over your head to cover your face and then lifting it back like he's in some kind of like ancient ritual.
I know. It was so white men can't jump. I swear. This is like, I have no idea. This was totally the whole thing.
The one kid has his backpack on his head. Why? Why are you carrying your backpack around on your head, kid? Like, what's going on? Really? What's going on? So dumb. So Momo's like, I didn't think you'd show. And Craig slams the ball into his gut saying, you want to talk or you want to play? I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
it definitely was like a showdown at 3 p.m.
You're expecting the damn tumbleweed to go across the court. Yeah.
I was like, who is this kid?
I know. And I'm like, Craig is tired of your bully antics, Momo. I'm like, please stop haunting the internet at the same time.
God.
Momo, sorry.
Momo. Such a weirdo.
It was so weird. So the game is on. We get a quick montage of everything. It seems Momo is up, but then Craig turns it around. And anyway, more on that in a minute as we hop over to the Fiore Cab Company. As Gabby interviews a cabbie played by Lou Albano, the wrestler turned actor best known for Cyndi Lauper music videos and the Super Mario Brothers Super Show on Saturday mornings.
Oh, I didn't see the Mario, but I know the Cyndi Lauper.
It's the same guy.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun is like the dad, right?
Yeah. He was actually in a couple other ones too, like Goonies Are Good Enough and I think She-Bop, maybe.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
So, but anyway, so he was in a bunch of other shows and movies in the 80s and 90s too. So he was in a lot of stuff. They tell the cabbie that they want some info on someone he took to Brinker's in his cab. And he says, well, I keep track of my fares, you know, where I go to and from every day. And so they look at his list to see where he took the guy in the business suit after Brinker's. And he says, well, I picked him up from Brinker's and I dropped him off at the airport because he told me he had a 6:30 flight to Washington, D.C., which takes him off the suspect list because he wasn't even in the area at the time of the fire, right?
Yep.
And the poor cabbie's like, he wants to be a star so bad. He's like, you want me? I can give you something else. I can sing. And he goes, Mama, yo quiero, Mama, yo quiero. I'm like, and they stop. I'm like, thanks anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this Italian man singing Latin music? I
I
don't know.
know. So weird.
It's just
The
funny to
whole
me.
thing is so weird.
It's so weird.
Then like these two kids are like saddled up to him and they're like, so we're trying to solve this mystery. And he's like, all right. I'm like, so are you guys past the age of like not talking to strangers? And like, I still wouldn't have been talking to adults like this. I guess I
Well,
would
they
have
are
been
at a
too
place
shy.
of business with a lot of other people around.
I guess
so
that's true. Yeah, it isn't nefarious, and he didn't pull
not
up
like in
to
a back
them or
alley, but
anything.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
exchanging
true.
money
I just
for
was
tips.
not talking to any. I was not solving mysteries and talking to strangers. I was too shy for that.
You know, though, somebody would probably want to redo this as like a Riverdale meets Ghostwriter type of
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah,
which
that's
could be
true.
fun, but I don't want to see that. I want to see
No.
classic, right? Anyway, so we go back to the park where they're playing ball, and Craig's fumbling the ball, and it looks like he's losing to Momo, even if he does get some shots in. And so they're playing to 20, apparently. And it
That's a
makes
lot.
sense because it's a long freaking match that's
Yeah,
going
it's a
on.
long match. Yeah.
So the final shot goes to Momo for 20-19. But in good sportsmanship, Momo gives props to Craig for a good game, and then they bump forearms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like COVID happened there or something in this universe. So Ghostwriter pops up on a sign nearby and it says, Jamal, get home now. And Alex urges him to go. And Momo asks, what was that about? And Alex says, oh, Jamal forgot to take his garbage out. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, you don't know what kind of trouble Jamal would get into if he didn't take the garbage out. You don't know if his family beats him. You
That's
know what I mean?
true.
Like, you don't know.
And that's pretty big too.
Some people are really big on the chores.
Yeah, that's big on the chores. Is the garbage out of the house?
Exactly. It can stink up the place. So
Yeah.
So he gets home and he's like, Grandma, what's going on? She doesn't say anything. She's just pointing to the other door, like, look over there. And so he's like, what? And he sees his dad, Reginald, played once again by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And he comes into the room with Lieutenant McQuaid in tow. And Reggie's like, where were you last night? And Cece says, I already told you he was at the library. And Jamal's like, yeah, I went there. And
yeah, I went there.
Yeah, I went there. And McQuaid says, well, the library closed at 6:30. And Jamal's like, well, and he makes the most unconvincing statement. This is how he says it. But I didn't know that, so I got there, so I came home.
Yeah.
He literally says so, not when I got there. I didn't know that, so I got there. That's literally what he says. I'm like, that screams lies to me.
I know.
Right?
So yeah, he wasn't a good liar.
He's like, so I got there, so I got home, you know. So yeah, anyway, Jamal doesn't have anyone to corroborate where he was, but he swears he didn't set a fire. And Reggie says, told you, my son is not a liar, detective. And Cece says, let me show Lieutenant McQuaid the door. I mean, she does not want somebody coming after her grandson. But I love how she's like, I'm going to show him the door. All right? Like, get the hell out of my house.
Out of here.
So Reggie sits down with Jamal to double check. And Jamal says, yeah, I argue with Mr. Brinker, but that's because he was being mean to Tina. But I didn't set fire to his stupid store. And Reggie takes this and says, Jamal, you need to watch yourself and stay away from Brinker. And then he gives him a little loving noogie, right? And I'm like, oh, nobody does noogies anymore. You ever notice that?
People's hair is too detailed.
Yeah, it's true.
People would be like, get off
to
my
a
hair.
kid, though. You do it to your kid. You know?
It's true. So many things have changed.
I know. It's little things.
Yeah, it's little tiny things.
Nobody gets high fives anymore. Everybody has fist bumps or elbow bumps.
That's true, yeah.
You know?
I still
if you do a high five, you can clearly you're old.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm old. I was like, I still do high fives with some of my friends, but I'm old. I was like, I guess I'm old.
I remember my friend and I, we were like, hey, let's do a high five. We put it on our palms, and we didn't realize it was going to hurt.
Oh,
bam! And hit her. Like,
oh no.
Why did we do that? We thought that this would our palms would cushion it, but no.
Yeah, but it's like,
don't do it. Unless you want to see how it feels, don't do it. Just don't do it. Anyway, we go back to the street, and Gabby and Tina are they're approaching the Fernandez bodega and complaining that they don't have enough suspects or clues. And Gabby sees Ghostwriter flashing on a newspaper that reads, Gabby, look here. So she stealthily tells Tina, maybe there's something in the paper about the fire. And, they look through it, and it says Mr. Brinker was at a school parents meeting at 7. And so they go into the store, and as they go into the store, we see they pull back, and you see Jamal running up the steps on the side of the building to go to Lenny's loft. And Lenny's still working on that damn song
Oh God,
with
the
her keyboard
song.
presets. And it's all
The
keyboard
song.
presets. She didn't write any of this music.
Yeah.
And, you know, she hears Jamal knocking. She lets him in. And he says, I am dead meat because that detective was at my house saying, you know, I was there when the fire started. And she's like, were you? And he was like, no. And nobody can prove I was. And then she whips out the letter and says, don't be so sure. Like, ooh, caught in the lie right then, Jamal.
Fucking narc.
Hey, no, she's confronting him, though, at least.
She is, but it's way more fun to call Lenny a narc with her weird whack songs. Lenny, be cool.
You know what? Go ahead and put on a plastic glove there, Lenny. Just like tell him to drop trowel so you can check everything, right? Like
Lenny, be fucking cool. He's got this under control. It's a little bit more difficult than you think.
Keep that knowledge in the DL, right?
Yeah,
like,
just be like, yo, I hope you know what you're doing because I know the real story and I hope you got this.
Yeah, exactly. So she tells him she found the letter on the floor at Brinker's, and he confirms, yeah, I was in the video, but there were other people there. And he tells her about the kids with the firecrackers and the people dropping off the packages. And she says to tell the police about them. But then he says, I can't because it will prove that I lied about being on the video.
And that I was there, that I saw this.
Rock in a hard place, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says, I heard you tell Brinker he would be sorry. And then she looks at him and she goes, tell me the truth. Did you set that fire?
I'd be like, you really think I'm capable of setting a fire, Lenny? I'm actually insulted that you really think that I'm an arsonist at like 11.
He should have flipped it on her.
He should have. I would have. I would have been like, that's crazy.
Really? You're going to ask me this now?
Come on.
And he's like, no. And I wouldn't lie to you. She's like, yeah, but you just did about being there. And he's like, fine,
we're all lying to you, Lenny. We all act like you are a good singer, and you're not. So, everyone lies.
Your songs suck, Lenny.
Your songs are horrible. We all lie to you about that. What's wrong with that, Lenny?
Those are white lies, though. Oh, wait, that's a racial thing. Sorry.
I know, right? Don't piss me off, Lenny. Don't fucking piss me off.
You don't want the black lies.
Don't. He's like, look, you don't know how hard this is for me. If my dad, Samuel L. Jackson, finds out 1 minute of this, I am cooked.
My dad, he used to kill people over a Royale with cheese. So.
Yeah, he's about to be in Pulp Fiction, so I am not going to fuck with him. In like a year, he's about to be in Pulp Fiction.
Don't mess with him.
So funny.
He's going to start quoting Bible verses at you, and it's the end. So
yeah, no.
Anyway, he's like, yeah, I didn't. And he falls back and he's like, I only did it because I was scared and confused. And she's like, if you didn't do it, then why'd you lie? And he says, it happened so fast. With Brinker yelling at me in the video and the police blaming it on me. And he says, the note is the last thing they'll need to prove that I was there. And that's when Lenny realizes, oh God, I took evidence from a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, girl, now you're implicated in this cover up.
Yeah, you are.
You gotta watch out, girl.
Where's her jazz wheeling dad? Isn't he like off at some club somewhere? Like, where is he?
He's not in this episode, in this mystery at all.
No.
He's mentioned, but he's not in it.
Yeah, he's not there.
So she says, I have to give this note to the police. And he's like, please don't. And she was like, but I love this. But Jamal, it's the law.
I know.
It always sounded funny to me the way she said it. Jamal, it's the law. And so he gets up and says, you can do whatever you want with that note, but please just give me more time, right? Just give me some more time. And he runs out of her apartment. And she turns back and looks at the letter, deciding what to do next. End of part 2.
They're over here like withholding evidence from like an active investigation. They're really like obstructing. Like they're doing all sorts of stuff.
The funny thing is, like, this all takes place over a weekend.
Yeah, it does.
Over a weekend.
It's a fast case.
It's a really fast case.
Yeah,
and they go through it. They go through it. The ups and downs of this friendship in like a weekend.
Yeah, they do.
Team, how is Jamal going to get out of this? I mean, are there more suspects to consider? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see.
So make sure you join us next week for part 3 of Who Burned Mr. Brinker's Store. Check out Fashion Grunge. You can find their links in our show notes. It's awesome. Check it out. You can also find links to contact me and the Rewatch Recap in general in the show notes as well. There's a link tree. I'm also going to have episodes for Ghostwriter listed on YouTube. So check that out. And we'll see you here next week for Who Burned Mr. Brinker Store Part 3. Woo!
Bye.
Bye.